Well, I am so excited to be talking to you today
Same here.
for the Save the World podcast.
Save the
And
World podcast. It's pretty beautiful.
yeah, it's actually, so what's funny about it is, if you recall, one of the mantras that always would come up for me was heal yourself, heal the world. And that's kind of where it came from. And just all the work that we've done together, I feel like is helping me, and I want to help other people. And I feel like it is about, like, healing the world is really about healing yourself,
Yeah,
getting yourself right, getting yourself on the right path, putting yourself in a good environment,
yeah.
and those things like all tie together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because then you're in flow, then you're in the flow in the universe, and then you're in that space of receiving your own internal guidance from your own internal guidance system, which means that you are always in a positive place to be able to give to others, because you're in a
Yeah.
receiving space. You're receiving. So you're not giving from a depleted ego place. You're giving from a full place, a place of, I have so much, and I'm receiving information on where to go now and where to go next and what to do here and what to do there. And so you're always in that space of receiving. And when you're receiving internal guidance, that means that you're connected to that guidance, and that guidance is pure positive energy. And so that is the ultimate healing experience, is being in pure positive energy. The cells
So
of
what
your
would you
body are
say?
thriving, when you're in that space.
Yes, totally. So
Yeah.
what would you say is like the very first step anyone would take if they want to be in that mode, in that zone, to like get in a good place, like physically, environment wise, like mentally, like step number one?
Yeah. Well, I think the first step is to get excited because you've given yourself that awareness that you want it. Like, oh, I want to be in a good space, and I wanted to be in the best possible optimum healing space that I can be in, and that is such a great uh, place to be in, because it means you've chosen wellness. And so I always say, choose first to make a choice that you want to feel better, to make that first choice of, I want to feel better, I want to heal, I want to position myself to be in the healthiest state of mind possible, and the healthiest environment possible. So the first thing is to choose that. And then the second thing is to start asking yourself, like, what lights me up? What makes me feel alive and vibrant? And so that's a really cool uh, place to be in, because you start questioning yourself. You start asking the questions of yourself and being curious. And so I would say to choose, first of all, and recognize it, that you're choosing, and then to be really curious about what it takes for you. Some people, say people who are living in New York City, right? They're not necessarily in a beautiful forest in the mountains of North Carolina. And so their peace and solitude is going to come a little differently. But they may want that peace and solitude. And so finding a spot for yourself, no matter where it is, where you can achieve that time of quieting your mind as best you can. And in that space of quieting your mind, the third thing I would say is to allow. And that is, allow the thoughts that are coming in your mind. Allow yourself to be in a place of, if you're distracted, you're distracted. To allow yourself to go to those places where the thoughts may be maybe loud in there for a little bit, because your body is doing its best to align with that vibration of your inner guidance system. You know, I call it my IGS for short, my inner guidance system. And the way I look at my inner guidance system is it is connected to source energy, to the purest parts of myself, the most innocent parts of myself that are pure positive energy. I believe that we all come from this divine place, and it's a divine source, and it's always flowing. It's always flowing. It's never stagnant. It's always flowing. It's always moving, and it's always expanding. And so my insides are always wanting optimum health and optimum circumstances to heal and to be healthy. So it's up to me, the Edie in this body, to give it what it needs and what it wants. And so the only way I can give it what it wants and needs is to listen quietly, give time and space to allow myself to hear what my insides are actually calling for. So choosing wellness, yeah, and then allowing that time to really hear what my heart has to say. You know, that's been a big thing for me, is discerning the difference between what my ego wants and what my ego may think it needs from a fear-based place. Oh, I need to pay the rent. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. Or, you know, I need to binge watch Netflix, or I need to eat that candy, you know, and recognizing. So when I'm curious about myself and I ask myself some really, from really interesting questions from a place of curiosity, I think that's key. Like, oh, what's really going on with me right now? What do I really want? What I really want? And what my soul really wants and my heart really wants is to be healthy. So it's going to go past that candy bar. It's going to go past that binge watching. You know, it's going to go past those fears into a space of something else. And if I can allow myself the time and the space and the environment to go there, then the answers present themselves. And sometimes
that's very true.
Yeah, the
It'll
answers.
just pop into your head.
That's right, because we're
And
being curious. Yeah,
yeah, and even if you're in New York, there is at least multiple ones that I think there's multiple ones, but I went to one specific meditation center, and it was like completely 100% free. You walk in the door and there's like a store and they have classes, but it doesn't cost any money. You go like down these stairs, and then all of a sudden you're in this like magical place. It's
yes,
rocks with a big skylight and a water fountain and pillows, and you can just sit there for as long as you want. And I
that's
found it
great.
one day. It was amazing. I'll try to find the like address and I'll link it in the show notes, but
Yeah,
it was amazing. And I just sat there and I like started writing and things started happening, and you know, everything
yeah,
comes into your mind that you were looking for as soon
yeah.
as you just sit there.
That's right. That's right.
So
And you know, so often we get into this place of asking rhetorical questions. Why is this happening to me? Why can't I make my life work? Or why don't I have the relationship that I want? Or why can't I find the career? Why don't I know my soul's purpose? And those are rhetorical questions. We're never really being curious and asking anybody or anything. You know, we're just kind of spouting it out. And so when we're spouting those things out, nothing's going to change. But when we get really curious and we do say, you know, I want to know, I really want to know what's going on with me. What's happening about this choice? What is it that I need to know about myself? And your self will show you. Here's what's still in here that needs to be loved. And that's all it is. It's about being loved and accepted completely. When we love and accept the information that comes completely, it's loving, first of all, information, and it's about us accepting it so that we can transcend it. You know, I heard somebody say, one of my favorite teachers, his name is Kyle Cease, and he said that problems will present themselves again and again until we love them, until we love and accept them completely so that they can transform into something else. And then we can transcend that problem, which I love. And I think it's really cool that, you know, you sought that out, Kate. That's what's so cool, right? Is that you sought out, you wanted to find a place for meditation. Your inner guidance said, oh, in all the city of New York, it doesn't matter how loud and how bustling and how on the move and how go, go, go it is. We will show you where you can find what you're looking for. And you found it.
And it was oddly so close to where I was. Like, I did not have to go far to find it. And it was right there. And I was like, oh my God.
That's what I love about life. You know, that's what I love about our inner guidance system. The more I understand it, the more I learn about mine and ours as a species, the more I think that it is always at work, always for our benefit. Just like our cardiovascular system, it's going to work, and it's going to work optimally unless we give it something to cause problems with it. You know what I mean? Like our respiratory system, we don't have to think about our respiratory system. We don't think about how the blood is working in our lungs. We don't think about what's happening with that oxygen exchange. We don't think about any of that. We don't have to think about our musculoskeletal system unless something's gone wrong with it, and then we need to be more mindful, and then we want to give it everything it needs so it can heal and do its thing. And so with our inner guidance system, what I think is really cool is I think its purpose, I could be wrong about this, but it's just my theory, is I think its purpose is to help us with our emotional and mental state, as well as it is, I think, our spiritual state. I think our inner guidance system is our spiritual state. And we can think our way and worry our way away from it. And we can mentally get in there and start churning things up and cause a lot of problems and turmoil and excess drama for ourselves. And what's cool is our inner guidance system never joins us in our drama. It will never say, oh, give me some popcorn and let me watch this thing go down, and like, let me get in there and judge. And it doesn't do that. It just holds the vibration of the answer to what our heart and our soul really wants in every circumstance, in every situation, and in every condition. It holds it. It holds the space for that. And the universe starts providing the answers to all the conflict, to all the challenges, to all the illness even. The answers are in the universe and inside us. And so when we let our insides kind of guide us to being open to receive, then we can be in the receiving place, and then the universe can just start handing us information. Oh, here's what you were looking for. Yeah.
I remember one exercise that we did because I couldn't figure out what I wanted. And so you had me like pull out I had a bunch of magazines because I just keep magazines, but you had me like pull out, you were like, every picture that brings up any emotion, rip that page out, and just rip all these pages out and then categorize them, cut them out, do all these things. So that was like a really practical thing and an easy to do thing that helped me like see what lights you up a little bit, just because I'm a really visual person. So what are other practical things if you're kind of in a stuck space to help you figure out what lights you up?
Okay. I love this question. I love it very, 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 very much. And the first thing I would say is, there are, to first recognize that it's impossible to really be stuck. Let's just say that, okay? Because
Okay.
energy is always moving, right? We are energy, we're made of energy, we're balls of energy, and energy is always moving. And so what I would say to somebody who feels stuck, because I've been there a million times, and we've all been there, and we all go there, and we think that we're stuck. And what we really are is we're more or less ruminating and thinking about something in the same way we've been thinking about it over and over and over. And what happens with that is we give the energy of that subject matter momentum. The more we focus on the stuckness, then the more momentum is around the stuckness. And so it seems like we're not going anywhere or getting anywhere because we keep focusing on not going anywhere or not getting anywhere or not knowing. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And again, it's back to that rhetorical thing, right? I don't know, I don't know. Instead of going, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But I'd like to know. And I want to know. Now we're open, right? Now we're open to receive. Okay. So let me recognize that I can't be stuck, but I can be building momentum in the direction of things that I don't want. So let me stop. Because momentum is one of those things that we can't undo. There's no undoing of momentum, but we can give our focus to something else. And now we're building momentum towards something else. So I would say, one, recognize you're not stuck, that you are, though, focused on something that you might not want to be focused on. So stop focusing on that. And then distract yourself. Like, I like to distract myself. I use one word, and I think it can be different for everybody. But my word, if I feel myself kind of churning over a situation, and I don't do it so much anymore because I don't have to. But, for those of us who haven't practiced this yet or a lot yet, find a word that works for you and that will distract you from that stuck feeling. And my word that I used when I was first practicing this is beauty. I love the word beauty. I would recognize I'm thinking too long and too hard about this thing, and nothing's going to change. It's just ruminating into crap. It's not, nothing is good is going to come of any of this. So let me stop. What am I? Focus on my word beauty. And when I look at the word beauty, it stops the momentum of stuckness, right? That illusion of being stuck. And then I look around for things that are beautiful. And I have so many beautiful things around me. There's always beauty. There's always beauty. One of the first times I practiced this, when I first realized that I needed a word to distract myself, and I chose the word beauty. It's hilarious. Like, the next day, I went to my godmother's house, and she asked me to go pick up a prescription for her. And she lives downtown Charleston, and the closest drugstore was a drugstore that has a lot of homeless people right outside of it. It's in a kind of a part of town that's a lower income housing, and there's questionable stuff going on, and it smells like urine out on the, you have to smell urine to get into this drugstore. And it was, it was a questionable situation. So I walk in, and I go over to the pharmacy, and I tell her I'm there to pick up my godmother's prescription. And I realize that I'm holding my breath, because I didn't want to smell what I was smelling. I didn't want to touch anything, and I didn't want to see anything. And I was like, okay, I'm not in a receiving space right now. And so I know that when you are not in a receiving space, your body just starts shutting down, because it wants to be receiving oxygen. It wants to be receiving life. And information from my insides, right? So I stopped, I took a big breath, and I thought, beauty. And I looked around and I just was like, I know there's beauty here. And my insides, my inner guidance system, shot my head up like this. And I looked up, and there in like 6-foot letters, it was this huge building, a tall building, was the word beauty across the top of the building. It was just beauty was the word. And it was painted on the wall. And it was just like my inner guidance system is going, yes, we will totally support you in your choice to feel better and to stay in the receiving mode. Because when you're in resistance, think about it. Our cells are never in resistance. They're always flowing, right? They're always open because they want to be receiving impulses from life. And so when we're in resistance to anything, we're in resistance to everything. And you don't want to be in resistance to everything. Maybe just some things, right? If it's a life or death situation. So, and again, when we are staying in the receiving mode, our bodies will tell us what to do, how to survive, how to thrive, all of that. So I would say, recognize you're not stuck. Let that be a guide to you to like get inspired to be open to receiving new information, okay? And choose a word that may feel good to you, that you know that you can kind of latch onto, if you will. Like beauty is always around us. No matter where we are, there's going to be something beautiful to see. And that was a lesson for me that day, and it has held true no matter what the situation was. And then the next thing I think is really fun, and something else that I did is to go on a joy journey. And you don't need magazines to do this. You don't really need anything to do this except your own imagination. And I like to think about having like my own little cauldron, if you will, of goodness. And, you can think about having your own imaginary basket or bowl or whatever you want, or a well of goodness. So just think about that and have that in your mind as you're imagining whatever your container is. It's nice to like choose your own container. And I just kind of have that with me everywhere I go. And I go through life and I choose things that make me feel good. If I see a couple who are sweet and romantic, I say, oh, I choose that for my container. I choose that. I want that for my relationship. Loving, sweetness, kindness towards each other. I want that. If I see an older couple, like an elderly couple, being kind of cute and sweet to each other, I think, I want that. I want that in my container because I want that in my old age with my love. I used to do this before I had a love. I would see, before I had a love, I'd be like, oh, they seem really happy. I want a relationship that looks like that. It could be anything too. Oh, I love that car. I love that car. I'm going to choose that car and put that in my container. That person loves their job, so happy with their career. I don't choose that career, but I choose the happiness that they have from their career. Oh, that person has the exact hours that I want to work. That person has the lifestyle, the schedule. Yes, I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to put that in my container. And you don't even have to do anything. It's almost just like, it's literally placing your order and telling your inner guidance system, this is what I'm choosing. And your inner guidance system is like, yes, we're on it. So we will help guide you to it if you stay open to receiving it. And then the universe is like, cool, we're on it. Let's see how we can orchestrate the delivery of this to you. And so, there's the Abraham teachings, I'm a huge fan. And they say that there's 5 processes. 5 processes to the law of attraction, basically. That we are magnets, we are attracting, whether we like it or not or believe it or not. It's just the way it goes. We are always vibrating. And we're going to attract that which is like unto itself is drawn. That is the law. And so the first process of the law of attraction is to ask for what you want. And what's cool is we're always asking, whether we even are thinking about it or not. Anytime we make a judgment about something, and we all make judgments about something, like, I don't want to watch that on television. No, I don't want to watch that. I want to watch this. Or I don't want to eat that. I want to eat this. We're always making judgments. Or even, I don't want to go there. I want to go here. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. So we're always asking. But when we start to get more specific about what we want, like more creatively, when we start being more creative about our choices and wanting to have like more creative input into our choices because they have more merit, like what we're choosing has more weight and more value to it, like where you want to go to college, or where you want to work, or who you want for your mate. So when you start asking, then the second process is it is given. The first process is ask. The second process is it is given. You can count on the universe delivering. Now, just like it takes 9 months from getting pregnant to delivering a baby, some things take a little bit. We don't instantly have a baby the moment that we're pregnant because some things take time to develop. But you can count on it happening. There's evidence of that happening all around us. So the universe, depending on how much time it takes to put it together and how much resistance we have in the allowing of it, it can happen soon. So ask. The second process is it is given. The third process is receive. Get into the receiving mode. Stay in the receiving mode. Stay curious. Stay in the place of, okay, I was stuck. I know I was stuck. I was feeling stuck. And now I remember that it's not possible to be stuck. I was just focused on things that I didn't really want. And the more I looked at what I didn't want, the more it didn't feel good. And the more it didn't feel good, the more I didn't want it. And the more I didn't want it, the worse it felt. And so then I'm snowballing. And then the universe is delivering more things that don't feel good. Because it's not going to say, this isn't good for you. It's going to say, here's what you're vibing. Here's what
you asked for.
Here's what you're asking for. Whether you want it or not, here's what you're asking for. So, cool. Think about what else. I want to ask for beautiful things. That's why I use the word beauty. Everything I want, everything I could possibly want is beautiful. Beautiful man, beautiful life, beautiful career, beautiful body, beautiful personality, beautiful relationships, beautiful clothes, beautiful experiences. I can count on that word moving me in the direction of good for my choices. So ask, it is given. Be in the receiving mode. Be in the receiving mode and just expect. Abraham talks about, you know how when you drive into you're driving up your driveway, you just expect your house to be there. You expect the driveway to be there. So if we can start expecting and counting and relying on the universe to do its job, we're good to go. It's also like being in that restaurant where you go into a restaurant, you know that there's chances are good there's going to be a chef back there cooking. Chances are good there's going to be a waitress or a server, someone to come and take your order. So we go and we place our order. And our inner guidance system is kind of like the server. And it goes to the kitchen and it tells the chef, which is the universe, hey, this is what she's ordering. And the chef goes, cool, Let me whip that up for you. Let me whip it up. Cool, I got it. Here you go. And then the server, which is like our inner guidance system, brings it to us because the inner guidance system guides us to it and the universe to that. And it's so cool. So step 4, the 4th process is to get good at step 3. Just get good at being in the receiving mode. And you know that you're in the receiving mode if you feel good.
So what would you say is a good practice for this? Like gratitude practice? Is that one where this?
Gratitude is great. Gratitude is great. Okay, let me try something with you. Okay. Which feels lighter? The word gratitude or appreciation?
Appreciation feels lighter.
That's right. That's right. Interesting, isn't it? And so I say gratitude is good. Yes, gratitude is good. And somehow there's still something in it that feels a little bit heavier than appreciation. I think sometimes gratitude implies things that we had to work for, or there was a loss that, there was some kind of loss, or this had to happen before that happened, or I don't know what it is. But the word appreciation is the word I like to use a little bit more because it's lighter. And so I make an appreciation journal. And there are certain things that I appreciate. My home, my husband, my health, my career, my dog. Certain things that are already there, that are givens, that I have, that I appreciate. And I like to go on this, and this is an Abraham thing too, a rampage of appreciation about what I appreciate about these things. And I'll start with one, and then I'll just start, and I appreciate this, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate this, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate this, and I appreciate that, and you just get lighter and lighter and happier and happier. So having that appreciation journal, you can write it out, or you can just talk it out. You can just talk it out to a friend. You can talk it out in your car. Sometimes I'll just walk up and down my stairs in my house and just talk about things that I appreciate. And then it's exhilarating. It's like the universe goes, okay, cool. Thank you. Your inner guidance system is like, yes, you're in harmony with us because you feel good. And the universe is going, we like it. You're asking for more of this, more of this. And I also like to play the more of this game. More of this, please. Like more podcasts with Kate, right? Like this feels delicious. More podcasts with Kate. More seeing Kate's face because it always makes me happy. Like more talking about what I love. More sharing with as many people as we can share happy goodness and ways to make your life better and things that will just improve. There's no way that your health cannot improve when you're in this space like this. There's just no way. The cells of your body are like giant smiley faces, all bubbling out through your whole body. They're flowing through all your organs, throughout your bones. Your blood cells are all lit up. I mean, it's just so fun. And then you start getting inspired on what you want to eat and what you want to drink and what you want to think. So many times I think, especially with women and in our society, is we think we have to do something to earn something. Men especially have to think, I have to do this to earn this, and then I'll be happy. Women have to earn respect or earn our value, earn whatever it is, and then we get such and such. And it's really kind of a backwards way of going about the way that we are built, really, with our inner guidance system. If we leave the externals out of it, and what I mean by that is anybody else's opinion. If we leave other people's opinion kind of out of it, and we don't think about what we need to get so that we can have, but if we just think about how do I feel? How do I feel about this subject? Okay, I could do a little bit of tweaking on this subject, right? take, for instance, I don't know, career. Okay. So people are like, well, I don't really know what I want to do. I know I want to do something that benefits people. I want to help. I want to do something. If we start noticing how we feel more and allow ourselves to be happy all the time, like if we make that choice, I'm giving myself permission to be happy all the time, all the freaking time. Then the universe loves that choice because there's so much joy. There's so much joy in the world, and there's so many things to be happy about. Now, there are going to be times when we lose a loved one, or we lose a pet, or someone we love loses a loved one. And there's going to be times when you're obviously not going to be able to be happy during those times. But if you're connected to your inner guidance system, you're going to be compassionate. You're going to be loving. You might not be tapped into happiness, but you'll be tapped into love. And then what happens is we are still able to give the right words that person needs to hear in that right moment. You're able to give the love to the people who need it the most. You're able to give the love to yourself and recognize what you need in those moments that are not happy and joyous, but they call for love. So that's what I think is beautiful. So we have ask, it is given, right? Ask, universe delivers. The third step is receive it. Stay open to receiving, because you're receiving love and guidance and instruction. You're receiving instructions. That my nickname used to be Random, because random crap would happen to me all the time. Random, just random stuff. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. There for a long time, mostly bad, mostly negative stuff, because I lived in this perpetual state of victim. Oh, this is happening to me, and this is happening to me. Because I enjoy telling stories, and the stories were very dramatic, and it got me a lot of attention, and it got me, people paid attention to me. And there was a time in my life where I really needed a lot of attention. As a kid growing up in an abusive environment, I needed attention. And what I didn't realize is that as I continued growing up, I started getting a lot of negative attention. And that wasn't what I wanted either. And then when I realized I don't want to live the victim life, I want to thrive. I want to be responsible for my happiness. I want to be happy all the time, as much as I can possibly be. Then what it amounted to was, I had to own my choices. And I had to own my thoughts. What am I thinking about?
Yeah, and then when you're in charge, you can't complain.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And then it was so much more fun, because so many beautiful things started happening. So learning that, wow, I am in charge of my life. I'm in charge of my life for the most part. If nature comes and takes my house away, nature has let me know that nature is in charge. Nature is in charge. And I'm in charge of how I react to that, how I respond to nature. And I can respond by assisting nature and going with the flow and staying connected to love and being in the space of receiving guidance and information on how to help put my life back together if nature decides to take it away. And that's where I want to be, is in that constant state. So the 5 processes I love. 5 is probably my favorite. So there's ask, and it is given. And the third one is receive, right? Stay in the receptive mode. Stay open to receiving. And the fourth one is get good at that. Get good at number 3. Get good at being in the receiving mode. And then number 5 is when you're not in the receiving mode, when you're in the pissed offedness mode, or you're irritated or aggravated, and we all go there because we're human. When we recognize that we're in step 5, right? Like I'm basically in step 1. I'm back in asking mode. Something's happening and I don't like it. So I'm basically asking the universe for something different. If we recognize that we're in step 5, means you're in step 1 and you're cool with it. You're totally okay with being in that place of asking. You're asking. Let it be okay. Let me recognize that the more I'm frustrated by this and the bigger it gets, then I'm just creating more opportunities to be frustrated by more things, because that's what I'm asking for. We're always asking. We're always asking. So if I'm, okay, I'm frustrated. This is not what I was shooting for. This is not what I necessarily wanted. Okay, I'm in step 5. Let me let it be okay. I'm in asking mode. Step 1 and step 5 are the same. Step 5 is just being cool with it. Letting it be okay that you're back in step 1 and you're asking. So it's great.
Right.
It's really, so that means the only work that we have to do at all, because you're always asking all day long, even unconsciously, subconsciously, the only real work that we have is step 3, to practice receiving. And
That's very true. And when you're talking about like appreciation and receiving, there's a mantra from a girl named Jess Lively who talks about Abraham all the time in Laws of Attraction, and hers is happy, thank you, more please. So she's like, anytime something comes up and she's like, this is good, she says happy, thank you, more please. And so I really like that one. I like saying
it's great.
it's fun.
I love that. It's a good one. Happy, thank you, more please. More, please.
Yes, exactly.
Staying in that space, because we're also meant to ask for more. You know, we're meant to ask for more, because this is a universe of expansion. We're always expanding. That's why it's impossible to be stuck.
Yeah. So do you think it's not negative to say like, once I've got this, now I want the next thing? And it's like that. I feel like you can think of that as good or bad. Like you can think of that as expansion, or you can think of that as always wanting more. Or like, what do you think of that?
Yeah, speak more about that. Like always wanting more.
Well, so the way that you just said it, thinking of it as expansion, that felt good. But I feel like there was a place or a time where I was like, okay, I got this. I wanted this and it happened. Now what? I wanted this and it happened. Now what? And sometimes that can be like exciting, but other times that can be overwhelming, of like knowing that you are consciously creating everything you're getting. Suddenly there's like a little bit of pressure, like, oh, did I ask for the wrong thing? I asked for the right thing, but not in the right way. Or, you know what I mean?
I do. And I think that's a really good point. And I think it's something that a lot of people are going to want to have an answer to. So I think it's brilliant that you brought it up. And that is that, you know, when you are given the next thing by the universe, it's obvious. It's not a questionable thing. When you've asked and it shows up, you know it. It is the next logical, non-resistant step to take. It's like, oh, yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. And get into that space and just enjoy it. And then when that starts feeling like, okay, I'm ready for more, overwhelm comes when we are thinking too many things at one time, or we're trying to receive too many things that have conditions around them.
Okay, so talk about that. How do you fix those? How do you get rid of those or remedy those?
That's great. So say,
well, here's a good one. So I'm starting a business and I'm trying to do it in flow based on intuition and like letting myself be guided. But then there's another part of me that's like, this must be painful in order for it to be successful. This must be hard
Yeah,
in
where do we
order
get
to
that?
be.
Whose
I
voice
don't
is that?
know.
Yeah,
That's not mine.
that's the place to be curious. That is a perfect
Right.
example of, oh, wow, let me be curious about that. Let me be curious about, where did I learn that? Because I can tell you for sure, our inner guidance system is not saying this has to be hard. It's not saying
Right.
it has to be hard. However, if you think it does, it will be.
Right.
And because that goes back to the, I'm not worthy of this unless I work my butt off for it. I'm not worthy of this until I struggle. And it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It is, I think, really important to hear that voice and to hear it and accept it completely, and to say, I hear you. I hear you, that you think that we need to struggle and that we need to work really hard. I hear you. I hear you. And I'm going to just be with you. What else do you want me to know? What else do you have to say? Ah, thank you. I hear you. I hear that. I hear that. And that's awesome. That's awesome. And I love that. Kyle C's puts, and I love that at the end of everything. I think I have to struggle so that before I can earn this, and I love that. I think this has to be hard, and I love that, because when you do love it, it's just, that's all it is that
Well,
voice.
because if you hate it, then you're attaching to it and you're putting more momentum to it, right?
More momentum to the hate,
Right. More momentum to the struggle, like more
to the
momentum to
struggle.
like unpleasant.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, it's so cool because passion can be like that, right? Like, we can have a lot of passion. I'm a passionate person. You're a passionate person. And passion aimed in the right way is a lot of momentum, and things can happen very fast. Passion aimed in a negative direction can create a lot of turmoil, chaos, a lot of things that have to be undone. Been there a million times. I know that one really well also. And so what I would say to that is to recognize that I'm being passionate right now. I'm hating something. Two things are taking place. One, I'm looking at it in a completely different way than my inner guidance system is looking at it. The divine in me is not looking at this the same way, because the divine in me doesn't feel the way I feel. That's the discord. That's why I feel rotten, and my inner guidance system will not join me there. It won't join me there. It's not. It's just going to say, we're going to hold love and light on this subject until you join us. Because that's where
So
the
how do you
answers are.
clear those conditions? So how do you
Love
say,
them.
okay, I see you, I love you, and that's it?
I
And
see you. I
they're
love
gone?
you. I see you. I love you. I'm going to embrace you. What do you have to tell me about myself? What do you want me to know? Be curious about those conditions. I love to get out a journal. I have thousands of journals and notebooks and pens, always on me. I've always got some. I'll always be able to find something to write with. Got it right here, so that I can say, what do you want me to know about myself? And then I just start journaling. Oh, thank you for telling me that. Thank you for telling me that. Wow, I didn't know that about myself. Wow. Because there are little voices inside us that aren't a part of our inner guidance system. They're a part of our conditioning, right? They're a part of our conditioning. They're a part of parents that meant really well, that want to keep us safe, that tell us things that they heard when they were little by their parents or well-meaning adults that wanted to keep them safe. And if you go back a few generations, there was a tremendous amount of fear of success, fear of failure. It wasn't too far back from my generation that the Great Depression, I have people that I know that went through the Depression. So everything was a struggle. Everything. You had to struggle. You had to fight. You had to this and you had to do that. And we've evolved to a planet of where that's not a thing. It's just been passed down as a conditioned way of being from people that may have had to be that way for survival. And we say, God bless you, I appreciate that, but that's not what my experience is. That's not my
That's
experience.
not true for me
It's not
anymore.
true. Exactly. It's not true for me. It's not true for me today. What was true for me 20 years ago may not be true for me today. I always like to bless and thank an old belief, an old habit of thought that was a protective habit of thought, because it may have saved my life in a lot of conditions. You know, that sounds kind of dramatic, but say you have a bad experience, and your mind says, well, that's a bad experience, we don't want to do that again, we're not going to go there again. Where there may be a period of time where I need to kind of mature up or grow or be safe, just so I can be stronger in the world. And then I may outgrow that old belief, that old habit, that old pattern. All boys are bad. You know, one broke my heart in kindergarten. Don't like boys. Boys are bad, you know? Or I'm in high school and I got dumped by the love of my life, and men are dogs and men are bad and men are this. I know so many girls that go through life like that, and they deprive themselves of meeting some really great guys, you know? You can't lump all those guys in one category just because you got your heart broken. But there may be a time where it's good for you to protect yourself for a little bit so that you can go hang out with your girlfriends for a while and go travel and take care of yourself and nurture yourself. But there will come a time when that old belief is not going to serve you. And so the more that you push it away, or the more that you deny it, as it pops up to the surface, and you're like, well, I'm just not going to believe that anymore. I'm not going to think about that anymore because it doesn't serve me anymore. But it creeps in the back of your mind. Anytime you get close to a guy, all guys are bad. All guys are dogs. He's going to cheat on you. He's, you know, abort, abort, abort. That's going to live in there because it hasn't been accepted, thanked for what it's done for you and protecting you and keeping you safe. And now I no longer need it. Now I'm going to get a new belief. You know, it's fun. Sometimes one of the things that I've done is I've given those old beliefs a new job. Like, I'm going to give you a new job, a more creative job. Let's see if we can go find the opposite of that as true. Let's go see if we can creatively find evidence of the opposite of that being true. And
that's a good time when the notebook that you were talking about, every time you would see like the old couple or the sweet couple, or that's when that like list making, I feel like, comes in handy with those kind of things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and that's also like what I had to do with the magazines. You know, like sometimes I'll have clients, I'll say, go to a Barnes and Noble and just start pulling every magazine that inspires you, like lights you up, or like you're intrigued by it. You don't even know why, you know, just go and just start pulling them all off the shelves and take them and go find a place to just sit on the floor and sprawl them all out. And just sprawl them all out. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is so exciting. You don't have to buy them all, you know. You don't have to, unless you want to. Unless you have the means and you're like, yeah, I'll spend X amount of dollars on all these magazines. But and if you have them all already, do that with them. But if you don't, right, stop by a bookstore, stop by a magazine shop, and just pull them off the counters and just look and like see if you can identify what lit me up about that. Make a little note. What do I love about that?
I remember doing that.
Little note.
You sent me, so I was in the CVS and I was trying to follow your advice without overthinking it. And I remember I kept on pulling the wedding magazines, and
Mm-hmm.
like those are the ones I like the most. And in that, but my conscious mind was like, no, you don't want to get married. Like you don't, but I did them and I got those anyways. And then I added those all to my fashion like collection of magazines. And what actually was pulling me to all of them was like the sequins and the flowers. And so as I was going through all of them, and I'm like, of course I love flowers, I love glitter. So it was really funny. So even if you're like, I hate wedding, or like, I don't want to get married right now, that's not what's happening. That isn't just because it's a wedding magazine. That wasn't why I
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
being
That was your
called to
guidance
it.
going, yeah, that was your inner mermaid going, you love sequins. You love
Yes.
flowers. You love this. You love that. And this is where it
Yes.
is. This is the path of least resistance to it. That's the
Yes.
thing
It's a
too.
wedding magazine.
Yeah. I heard something recently, and I think it's really powerful, is our inner guidance system is, it knows us. It knows our hangups. It knows our habits. It knows our addictions. It knows our get in the way stuff, right? It knows it. So it is always moving us in the path of least resistance to what our heart's desires are and what we want. I have given up the whole phrase of saying, I need to think about that. I need to think about that. Let me think about that. Let me, like, I need to figure it out. Like, not that I don't deliberately take time to think about things sometimes, but I think more along the lines of, I'm not figuring anything else out. Not the kid here. I recognize that when Edie, limited beliefs, 53 years old, of a whole lot of experience of some of what I love, some of what I hate, some of what I want, some of what I don't want. Like there's a lot going on in here. There's a combo platter going on in here, right? And if I try to figure things out, it can only be figured out through my own filters, through my limited belief system, my lifetime of believing that I had to struggle for what I wanted, for all those times when I heard all those critical voices and I believed them because I thought that they were smarter than me or knew more than I did or wiser or just been around the block longer. I can't figure anything out because it will definitely be filtered through that, all of that. So what I've done and what I've been doing is I sit in the mornings and I put my hands on my heart and I say, I want to hear what you have to say. And as stuff bubbles up and I just, I don't judge it and say, is that my heart? I just give room. I become the space for all the thoughts. That's what I'm doing. I be the space for all the things I'm thinking. And then those things just move and they just kind of sort themselves out and they work themselves out. I just be the space for it all. And then what happens if I'm the space for all of it, my heart can emerge and it can give me guidance. It can give me an insight, an aha moment, a thought about something I need to know about myself. And one thing too that I think is really cool and clever about our inner guidance system is that sometimes it has to guide us into a huge, oh my God, situation so that we can choose more deliberately. Isn't that
So that
fascinating?
you have a clear instinct of like yes or no.
Yep, exactly. So that you have a clear instinct about, yes, well, I know I don't want to do that again. Or I'll do that, but only if this comes along with it. Or I'll do that only if that doesn't come along with it. It's about fine-tuning and tweaking, right? And then,
Mm-hmm.
so in the morning, like I like to do that. I like to be the space for all of it, connect with my heart. When I feel that connection and I just feel good and I know I'm there because all the cool positive things that are going on in my life start showing up, right? And then when I feel inspired to take action on one of those things, that's when I get up and I move. And then I'm in inspired action all day long and everything just lines up for me, shows up for me, one thing after another, one thing after another. Everything just kind of falls into place all day long. And then when I lie down in my bed at night, I have this smile on my face where I reflect back on all the things that just lined up. That's when I do my appreciation list. Oh, I appreciate my bed so much. I appreciate my pillow. I appreciate my soft covers. I appreciate this bedroom. I appreciate my hubs lying next to me. You know, it's just, I go into this place of appreciation, and then I drift off in appreciation. And then what happens is you will wake up the next day. We're not creating in our sleep state. You may be dreaming, but you're not creating. Your dreams are just showing you what you are creating in your wake state. So when you are about to wake up and you start having these dreams, sometimes your inner guidance system shows you, here's where your dominant vibration was left off. Here's where you left off in your the culmination of all the thoughts you've been thinking. Here's the combo platter of where you are vibrationally, and here's where you left off. So it's really important to, if you did have a funky dream or something that was troubling, I like to say two things. One, I'm really glad that I was subconsciously maybe holding on to all that stress and worry and didn't even know it. Didn't give myself time during the day to let go of it, to release it in some way, intentionally, on purpose. So thank you, body, for it showing up in my sleep state so that it can be released. Thank you for letting me know that I had something that needs to be released. That's really cool. And then if I feel like it's something that the universe, my guidance system, the divine is my wiser self, the wisdom of Edie mixed with the divine, wants me to work out a little bit more, you know, to come to have some more understanding of, that's when I get curious and I ask questions and I journal. Can you tell me more about that? Oh, that was really interesting. Say more about that. We know we're ready for that information when it shows up. We know we're avoiding that information when it shows up again and again and again and again. And so, you know, I like to call it loud. When there's something that I'm ready for, I'm ready to evolve past an old habit, an old belief, an old pattern that I'm outgrowing. I call it, it's loud. It's loud because it shows up everywhere. It shows up in somebody else. It shows up in a relationship that I'm close to. It shows up in my friends' situations. It shows up between me and my husband. You know, I'll hear it. I'll hear about it. So I know that that is my opportunity to accept it, love it, and ask questions about it so that I can gain more insight about it so that I can transcend it.
Move beyond it.
Move beyond it. Because once you do move beyond it, you're vibing differently. Your insides are vibrating differently, so you're not so apt to keep attracting those circumstances anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, we can always continue attracting funky things based on what we're focused on. So it's really...
But if you've come to make peace with it, you won't think of it anymore.
You won't focus on it the same way, right? Right. It's, you know, or obsess about it, or become neurotic about it. It's those pieces that we're neurotic about that need the most love. They need the most.
What's interesting is sometimes those feelings, after you've like worked it out, I noticed this, and sometimes I feel like it would come back just to remind me of like, oh, that used to bother me. Oh, I used to be afraid of that. And it's kind of like this really, that's an appreciation moment of like, oh, thank you for reminding me that I'm not worried about that anymore.
That's the fun one. Yeah, I call that like being the shadow of the thing, you know, like that's the shadow of the thing showing me that I'm on the other side of it.
Yeah. And it's almost like sometimes when I'm feeling bad about something else, it's like, oh, but remember you already fixed this other thing. Like you can fix this thing too.
Exactly. Yeah. What did I do to fix that thing? Oh, I loved it. I accepted it. You know, I got curious about it. I listened to it. I listen to it. You can give anything a voice. You can give your ovaries a voice. You can, well, first of all, it's not necessarily, let me rephrase that. It's not that I think that we give things a voice. I think that things already have a voice. We can give space so that those things, our bodies, the pieces of our bodies, how our bodies are made up, information, if we give space to the voice and we give time to hear what all these things have to say that have messages for us, our bodies have messages for us, our ovaries, our knees. You hear people say, oh, I've got a bad knee, I've got a bad knee. I always say, well, I wonder how your knee feels about being called bad all the time. I've got a bad back.
And
I've got a bad back.
We're not tuning our radio to the knee channel. Like we have to, turn it to the channel and then listen to it.
Exactly. That's a great way to phrase that. It's like, yeah, my knee. Well, yeah. Tune into the knee channel, because your knee is obviously there's an alarm going off. How do you know something's getting your attention? Because it hurts, or it's loud, or it won't go away. It's up to us, and that's all we have to do is give it our focus and our sweet attention, our sweet and kind attention. Like, I think that's so important and so powerful. Like, I like to try and treat, I don't want to say try, I do. I like to treat my body as I would a little child, like my niece or nephews when they were little. Like, I want to treat them with love and care and sweetness and kindness. And because of that, I have a really healthy body. And I know that if I have conditions going on that I don't know about, when those conditions show up, I know what to do. I know to listen to them, and then follow the guidance that I'm given on what the next logical steps are. And that's how you not get overwhelmed, like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. It's because you're trying to think about the problem and the solution in the same thought. And so What you want to first do is just accept the problem, embrace the problem, love the problem, be quiet so that you can hear the solution. And the solution will present itself in a very clear next logical step. And the thing about that is, if the solutions aren't presenting themselves, and you are waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're like, I need that answer. Why don't I have an answer? Why don't I have an answer? That's why. Because if you're
your
looking
expectation is that you don't have it.
Exactly. You're focused so much on the not having of the answer that it's that focus on the not having it is in the way of it showing up. The answer can't occupy that space. If that space is already occupied with frustration that it's not there. So to say, okay, I get it. I'm in the way. Let me breathe. Okay, let me accept that I've been in the way. Okay, that's pretty funny. The answer's here, just I'm in the way. Okay, let me not take myself so seriously for a hot minute. Okay, now what I know is that the answer is here, because ask and it is given. The answer is here. Let me get quiet. Okay, I'm too attached to it, so let me go get a glass of lemonade. I'm going to just get off of it for a minute. Let me just move into taking care of myself. I find that whenever I nurture myself, whenever I take the time to actually tune in and see what I need to nurture myself, everything I need shows up. Everything I'm looking for, the answer shows up. It shows up.
I 100% agree. And I wasn't taking that advice until a few weeks ago. But
good for you.
Yes. Take care of yourself. Everything else will fall into place.
It will fall into place. We are we get to take care of ourselves. We get to. It's a privilege. It's an honor to listen to our guidance system. It's an honor to have a guidance system, right? And I mean,
and to
that's
have
kind
a
of a,
body that can feel it.
to have
Like,
a body that can feel it.
yeah.
Exactly. And to know too, okay, all right, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm feeling bitter and resentful. All right, hold on a second. My inner guidance system isn't looking at this the same way. What is it that I'm wanting? And I write that down sometimes. What is it that I'm wanting? What am I wanting? I must be wanting something. If I'm this passionate, if I'm this angry or this frustrated or this, I must be wanting something. So I write down what I'm wanting. What is it that I'm wanting? And then I ask myself, is that something I can give myself? Because usually if I'm upset, it's because my ego is thinking that I need to get it from somebody else, or I need to get it from something else. I can't get the money because I don't have the job, Like I can't have this because I don't have that. And the truth of the matter is I might not even need that in that moment. Do I need it right then in that exact moment? No, I do not. I do not. So let me take a moment and then get back to that place of acceptance. And then what does my heart say that it needs and it wants? When the first time I did that and I asked my heart what it wanted, it said, I want more time with you. Yeah, right? And you doing that, Kate, like you bring me to something that's so important and powerful. And it is that when you get the answer from deep within you, it always sounds like that and feels like that.
Yeah.
It's like yes. It's like yes. It's such a gratifying sensation of yesness. It's like yes. And in that space of yes and more things that feel like that become just part of our everyday, day-to-day, all day. I tell you, one of the greatest challenges that I had personally, because I did have that life of victim, martyr, like drama. I just did. Was I had to start asking myself, can I handle the goodness? Can I handle the goodness? And when I first asked that question, it was rhetorical. It was like, can I handle the goodness? I mean, can I handle the goodness? And then it was like, who are you asking? Can who handle the goodness?
I am the goodness.
I am the goodness. Exactly. Yeah. I am the goodness. I am the abundance. I am the joy. I am the expansion. I am that. I am that. I am the goodness. I am the happiness. I am the next right choice, right? I am the next right thing. And that's the thing. It's like it coming from that place of wholeness, nothing's ever missing. Then it's just,
that's a good one.
Yeah, nothing's missing. There's no such thing as not enoughness when you are wholeness. When you are full of love and all that is. That's another name for the divine and for God is all that is. I think that is so cool. Like,
that is. That just feels good. It feels complete almost.
Yeah. Yeah. So nice.
I feel like this podcast too has just been one big happy thank you more, please.
Happy,
We've
thank you.
already.
More, please. Happy,
Yes,
thank you. More, please.
I
Yes.
feel like I could talk to you about this for like days, like
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah, me
So,
too. It's definitely my favorite topic in the whole wide world
yes,
is love and expansion and goodness and how to have. And that's what it's about really is how do I have the life that I want? How do I have a life of my dreams? How do I have a life that is exuberant and vibrant and delicious? And the answer is receive it.
allow it. Be it.
Recognize, allow it, because recognize that you are it, that it is in here. And so as you have it, as you have, as you have it, and you know that you already have it, then, and you allow it to unfold from you, then the whole world is blessed. The whole world gets all of that from you. Then you are just always receiving the goodness, offering up the goodness, receiving the goodness, offering up the goodness, having the goodness, sharing the goodness, being the goodness. You're just being
Yes.
goodness. And then the planet thrives from that, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
It's like the apple tree. You know, it just bees the tree. It beats the tree. And then the apples, they fall off. They don't hold, oh, I need to hold all my apples. Don't fall off the tree, apples. Don't fall off. They just fall off. People come and pick them or not, or they fall on the ground. And then what happens? They just become part of the soil that keeps the roots happy and the trunk happy. And then it produces when the time is right.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Well, it is. This is great stuff. Thank you so, so much for doing this. Where can people find you online, or if they want to connect with you, where should they go?
They can connect with me on my email at edieallengiggles@gmail.com. That's EDIEALLEN giggles @gmail.com. And I also have a website, and that is thedragonflydojo.com. Thedragonflydojo.com. And
Awesome.
yeah, I'd love to connect with anybody who has any questions about anything. And yeah, I'm excited. Some of my work is going to be published in a couple of books that are coming out, and I'm in the process of writing my book, and that's going to be out sometime soon. And so I love this work, and I love sharing the good stuff. I love being, having, happy, thank you, more please.
Yes.
So yeah, anybody wants to reach me, and I'd love to hear from them. And yeah, let's do a little Q&A next time.
Yes, we will. Part 2 will be all Q&A, and I will link all that in the show notes, and I can't wait for the next one.
Me too, girl. Thank you so much for having me. This has just been a blast. And
I know.
blessings to everyone. And may you all be happy, joyous, and free. You know, I'll leave you with one Abraham quote. The happier you are, the more in harmony you are in your thoughts, in your words, and in your actions with who you really are. So happiness
Perfect.
is the key. All right, my dear. Namaste,
My
my
cheeks
love.
are smiling so much.
I
Can you feel
know.
it?
It's great, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.